Hello everyone, good morning. How are you all doing this morning? I hope you all are doing well. Today we're going to be having our social studies, and trust me, it's going to be an interesting topic. We're going to be going to Egypt. Trust me, we're going to be going to Egypt. But we are going to be right here going to Egypt because we're going to be talking about the history, the ancient history of Egypt, and trust me, it's going to be very interesting. All what you need to do is to sit down, stay focused, get your pen, get your book, get a seat, listen. The first thing we need to know what we're going to be talking about. So we're going to be talking about a journey into the past ancient Egypt. A journey into the past ancient Egypt. Fine. The first thing we're going to be doing, we're going to be breaking down the topic into division. So we're going to be having our math right here. So the first one, we're going to break a journey. What's a journey? We all know what a journey is all about. You moving from one place to another, it's a journey. And the next one, we're going to talk about past. The past. When you're talking about the past, it's something that has happened, something that has been, something that has been gone for years, for ages, that has been done. So that's what we're talking about, past. Past, it has to do with something that have been done, something of ages, something of long. So the next one, we're going to be talking about ancient. Ancient, we all know what ancient is all about. In our last lesson, we talked about ancient. So ancient is the holding method, something that has been long, something that been in existence. So past, ancient, Egypt. We all know what Egypt is all about. Egypt is a country in where? What continent? Fine. Is a country in the continent of Africa. So we're going to be having our objectives, what we need to know after the lesson, the things we need to know after the lesson. So we need to make sure we know the shape of the structure of the Egyptian society. So the next one, we need to know the head in the pyramid structure. The next one, we need to know the boundaries of the ancient Egypt. So the next one, we need to know the important geography features. The next one, where the ancient Egypt is located. The geography of ancient Egypt. Ancient means having had an existence of many years. Something that has been had in existence of many years. Something that has been existing for long. That has been in existence for long, for many years. Like I said in our last lesson, I told us some things that were in existence for long, but they are no more. So, in the olden days, hunters, they go to the forest, they go to the bush to hunt for what? To hunt for animals. But nowadays, they rear animals in the house. So ancient means having had an existence of many years. Ancient Egypt is a great civilization that lasted up for more than 3,000 years. Egyptian culture is known for their culture, treasure, gold. At a tide, ancient Egypt empire stretched far north as Syria and as far north as Sudan. So, long before the empire, the ancient city of Egypt was small city of independent city-states located along the Nile River. The city-state was divided into two regions and named according to the flow of the Nile. We have the upper and the lower Egypt. If you should look at this place, you will see the lower Egypt and we have the upper Egypt. The upper Egypt is the upper stream, and while the lower Egypt is the downstream. About 3100 BC, the Arabs united, thereby creatively one Egyptian state. They came together to make one Egyptian. So, to be one, instead of having a separate cities, they came together to have one. They came together to be one. So, the Nile Valley, however, is the most important geographic feature in the area since the Nile runs throughout the country, flowing from the south to the north. The Nile is so important to the Egypt country because the Nile brought water to the desert in Egypt. The Nile brought water to the desert in Egypt because if there wasn't water in Egypt desert, probably by now Egypt would have remained as a desert. And look at these guys. The lower Egypt included the Nile River, it is delta. The upper Egypt was the long narrow stream of ancient Egypt located south of delta in the Nile Valley on both sides of the Nile River. So without the Nile flowing water into the desert in Egypt, by now Egypt would have remained as a desert. So the Nile is so important to the Egyptians because the Nile made water to flow into the desert. And the next one we're going to be talking about the social life of the ancient Egypt. The social life of the ancient Egypt. The structure of the Egyptian society was similar to the shape of the pyramid. The pharaoh the most powerful figure in the society, was at the top of the pyramid. The next most powerful group was the ruling class, which consisted of nobles, government officials, and army generals. Less powerful was the middle class, which consisted of priests, artists, soldiers, merchants, and craftsmen. If you should look closely to the head, you see Pharaoh, who is the most powerful figure in the society. He is the top. And most of us, we wonder, who is Pharaoh? What is Pharaoh? Now I'm going to be telling us the meaning of Pharaoh. In the olden days, Pharaoh, which means great house. Great house. Then in the ancient Egyptian. So Pharaoh was the powerful figure in the society. The next is the government officials, the noble priest, then the soldiers, then the scribes, the merchants, the craftsmen, the farmers, and so on. Most office was inherited, which means that a young man will have the same position as his father, since moving from one class to another was rather difficult. So if your father was to be an hunter, definitely you will surely inherit your father's position as an hunter. If your father was to be a craftsman, you will surely be a craftsman in replacement of your father. So you have to be in position as your father was. So before I go, I would like us to watch a video which is going to be telling us a lot of things that we might not understand. So after the video, I would want you to go back to our objectives and write the boundaries of the ancient Egypt, the important geography features, where the ancient Egypt is located. So we have to watch the video. Let's pay attention.
Hello students. Your goal today is to watch this video carefully and to take notes on the provided Google document to get a general understanding about the geography of ancient Egypt. When you are finished watching this video, you will be creating a map about what you have learned. Egypt is located on the continent of Africa. It is in the northeastern corner of the continent. It is situated at the meeting point of Africa and Asia. Egypt is bordered by the Mediterranean Sea to the north, while the Red Sea borders Egypt to the east.
The Nile is the longest river in the world, flowing more than 4,000 miles through Africa to the Mediterranean Sea. Every summer, the Nile floods because of heavy rainfall in Central Africa. When the floods recede, they leave behind silt, a layer of rich topsoil that transforms the otherwise barren desert into fertile farmland. It was along this river, and because of it, that Egyptian civilization rose and flourished some 5,000 years ago. The Nile was Egypt's most precious resource, but Egyptians had to cooperate to make it work for them.
Egypt is called the gift of the Nile because without the Nile, Egypt would have remained a desert. The Nile brought water and fine, fertile silt to the deserts in Egypt. The Nile River extends across the entire length of the country from north to south. It begins in the mountains of Africa and empties into the Mediterranean Sea.
Ancient Egypt had four main divisions of its land. The first two being the Upper and Lower Egypt. It may seem odd that the Upper Egypt consists of a narrow strip of land located south of the delta. Lower Egypt contains the Nile River Delta, which is made by the river as it empties into the Mediterranean Sea.
The ancient Egyptians thought of Egypt as being divided into two types of land, the Black Land and the Red Land. The Black Land was the fertile land on the banks of the Nile. Ancient Egyptians used this land for growing their crops. This was the only land in ancient Egypt that could be farmed because of a layer of rich black silt that was deposited there every year after the Nile flooded. The Red Land was the barren desert that protected Egypt on two sides. These deserts separated ancient Egypt from neighboring countries and invading armies. They also provided the ancient Egyptians with a source for precious metals and semi-precious stones.
Most of Egypt is desert. To the east of the Nile River is the smaller Eastern Desert. West of the Nile is the Western Desert. The Western Desert is part of the Sahara Desert, which makes up most of northern Africa. Egypt is surrounded by natural barriers: the deserts, mountains, and Mediterranean Sea. These barriers provided protection to the Egyptian people. That is the end of this video. You may rewind the video as much as needed to make sure that all of your notes are completed. Don't forget to turn in your completed notes and map in Google Classroom.